All right. Bob's back, Biker News Canada. It's time for another installment of Tales from the Clubhouse. So, remember this time we had this guy. He was another brother, brought him in as a prospective member, prospect, probate, whatever they're called, whatever you want to call them, depending on what your club is. I remember some clubs just call them strikers back in the day. I don't know why, but anyways, that person, the person who's got the patch on, he's waiting for his full patch. So we had a kid in there, and he was a pain in my ass. He did one good thing for me this whole time. He gave me a good solid connect down there in Toronto for some product. Other than that, he was a dummy, a slow poke, a lollygag. He didn't take none of this serious. And when you're in a bike club, man, there's some parts you got to take serious. There'd be nights I'd be like, yo, get over here to the clubhouse, man. We got some shit. We got to do this, got to do that, blah, blah, blah. Yep, be right there. Now, I know when I was in that stage, be, hey, man, hey, Bob, get over here. We got to do this, we got to do that. Boom, I was right there. Put down what I was doing, and I would go. That is the proper response. This guy would be an hour later. He'd finally come putzing in. Hooty-doo. So one time with the older members, he was having a laugh, and he was making me mad on purpose to see I had any in me. So he's telling me, oh, that kid doesn't care what you say. That kid doesn't respect you. So by the time that kid got over there, I was so wound up. He opened the door. Crack! He got it right away, man. That was the end of that. So, so if you're being a probate prospect, whatever the hell you want to call it, don't be like him. This guy was broke, man. When you're coming along, you better have an income stream. Like, you better have a job, man. You better have a good income. Being a biker is expensive. I'll tell you that straight up. There ain't no free ride, and it's expensive. I remember we're on a run up to another chapter up in the northern parts. It's a long run, 9-hour run on your bikes. It's a long run. You feel it when you get off your bike. Let me tell you. Anyways, we're we stop and fuel up. Everyone stops at the same time, fuels up. It's a pack, not a huge pack. And this kid comes out of the flipping gas station / restaurant, stuffing cheeseburgers in his pockets, man. I never see. I'm like, oh my jeez, what is the matter with this guy? So finally, he's run out of money. He couldn't pay his dues and his stuff and this and that. He went out, got arrested for shoplifting pork chops, man. Pork chops. It's a great pork chop caper. All of a sudden, he claims that he tells all those guys he's on bail, and as part of his bail is not to associate with the club. Which, if you're on a bail for a real charge, yeah, not being on bail for boosting pork chops. My God. But anyways, so that was his thing. He said he was on bail and he couldn't associate no more with none of us hooligans. And shortly after that, I got arrested for a real big boy charge. And then shortly after that, then the whole club got arrested. And that was pretty much the end of that. But I never see that guy again ever since he got caught boosting pork chops. Then it came out years down the road. I was talking to some of the old bros because, contrary to popular belief, I did stay in touch with the guys from my city. Why wouldn't I? It turned out there was SA charges on the kid's jacket. We just hadn't come across it yet. So he was going to get the boot one way or the other. And, he wouldn't have been around. So that would have been it. You can't have a guy in your club who's got SA charges. It just doesn't jive. I don't care what club you are. If you come at me with that bullshit, you've lost all my respect right out of the gate. So anyways, that's what we got. Don't be a turtle. Turtles are not what you want in a motorcycle club. Be there. Be ready. They're going to call you at 4 in the morning and ask you to bring them over cigarettes. They will do it. They're going to ask you to put the bucket from an empty Kentucky Fried thing over your head. They're going to do it. They will not ask you to do anything that they wouldn't do. So with the same older guy who was winding me up about the turtle, he tells one of the young guys, well, hey, that bucket of chicken's empty. Turn that bucket upside down and wear it for a hat. And the guy's like, I'm not doing that. I don't have to do anything you wouldn't do. Well, this old guy, he didn't care. He'd been in the club for ages at this point. He had no image to maintain. Boom. He puts the bucket of chicken on his head, marches around the whole flipping night. So the other guy had to as well, because that is the deal. They won't ask you to do something that they won't do. But if you listen real close to the older guys who've been in the club for a while, you'll learn something. So when they get you to do a cigarette run at 3 in the morning, that's because they want you one on one so they can teach you what they know. There's a lot of guys that coming in and out of motorcycle clubs, so you have to be careful as an older member who you want to share your wisdom and your knowledge with, because you share it with some guys and 2 months later they quit anyway because, oh, this wasn't for me, or Jesus, other groups in town and we might have a beef, or whatever the case is. All of a sudden you've given up all that time and effort for nothing, and the person quit and they're down the road and you don't ever see them again. Because generally, once somebody quits or gets kicked out of a club, you don't see that person no more. That's just part of the world. So that's what I got. If you're in the prospect slash probate slash whatever stage, be on it. Have your kit with you. Be ready. They'll ask you stupid questions. It is what it is. And learn the history of your club. The history of your club is the most important thing that you'll ever learn. The bylaws, the history, how it came to be, how it grew, what happened in the past. All that stuff is really, really important when you're joining a club. I'm glad I took the time to learn all that when I was coming up, because it actually came important in hand. It came to be important down the road. And I wasn't even in the club very long, and I was overseas and I was meeting other clubs, and I was um, getting them to join in our club and stuff like that. So you got to know the history of your club. You got to have a clear mind. You can't be all drunk and high and whatever all the time. You got to be ready for what they need you to do when they need you to do it. And then hopefully in 6 months or a year, you get the full patch and it's your turn to tell them. But don't ever, when you first get your patch, don't ever start being the bully that picks on these guys, because you were the last guy who, and it's just as easy to lose your patch as it is to get it. In fact, it's easier. So keep all that in mind. Tales from the Clubhouse, number 17. I'll be back with more of these great ones down the road. Thanks for watching, everyone. Much love, and as always, respect. Mm.